Tommy Robinson was walking alone in a large train station in London when he was threatened with violence by a belligerent man who was drunk. Tommy repeatedly warned him to back off, but instead, the man advanced. Tommy responded in self-defense and the man fell to the ground. London train stations are completely covered with surveillance cameras, and unless police delete that footage, it will clearly show the man besetting and threatening Tommy. It was 100% self-defense. In fact, Tommy immediately contacted police to tell them about what happened.
Now, I've said for many months that the authorities are looking for any excuse to put freedom fighter Tommy Robinson behind bars again. The Unite the Kingdom rally on September the 13th, bringing together many of the world's biggest figures on the right, including Dr. Jordan Peterson, chills the deep state, Westminster establishment and MSM to their very core. And now they think they've found their excuse, and of course, the MSM is playing ball. Can you believe that more than half of you are watching this video but not subscribed? So please do me a huge favor, click the subscribe button now, turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to all of our brand new Outspoken videos.
I am in London and I had a fight with the door. And I am at London Real. Where are we?
This is London Real, baby. This is where it happens.
And we'll hear from the host of London Real in just one moment. But the usual suspects at LBC, the BBC, the Sun, the Daily Mail have been parroting the police line. And the Daily Mail went further with this headline, exclusive. Tommy Robinson shouted, "Come at me," before punching man unconscious at Saint Pancras station, witness claims, as police hunt for hard right activists who fled the UK overnight. Problem is, that's simply not the truth, prompting Rebel News boss Ezra Levant to launch a new campaign to save Tommy as he reveals what really happened.
Tommy Robinson was walking alone in a large train station in London when he was threatened with violence by a belligerent man who was drunk. Tommy repeatedly warned him to back off, but instead, the man advanced. Tommy responded in self-defense and the man fell to the ground.
And just like in the case of the Manchester airport attack on police, selected footage does not reveal the full context of what really happened.
London train stations are completely covered with surveillance cameras, and unless police delete that footage, it will clearly show the man besetting and threatening Tommy. It was 100% self-defense. In fact, Tommy immediately contacted police to tell them about what happened.
But Ezra points out the MSM doesn't want the truth to emerge.
I see that the regime media are reporting that Tommy has fled the jurisdiction, but that's actually not true. It is true that Tommy later left the UK, but it was for pre-scheduled meetings, including international media interviews. He's not fleeing. He had already reported the incident to the police, and he has never in his life tried to evade authorities. You'll remember just last year, he voluntarily flew from Spain to London to present himself to the court, even though he knew he would be sent to jail. Tommy doesn't run, not from thugs at the train station and not from police.
And remember, Tommy is filmed everywhere he goes, everywhere, including on his pre-planned flight out of the country.
2 lines, one on the left, one on the right.
Life is good, though. I want y'all to see that life is great. Your life is great.
And of course, the attack on Tommy comes as lawless London is quite rightly the focus of the world.
A lot of people are victims of crime in London, especially in their subway system called the Tube. Even Donald Trump mentioned London's decay yesterday in his visit to the United Kingdom. There were 940,000 crimes reported in London last year alone, and many people don't even bother calling police anymore. Tommy is more alert than most people because he regularly gets harassed by people who disagree with him.
And here was Trump, by the way, exposing the failed Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, in front of a horrified slippery stammer at Turnberry this week.
Go to London, or are you worried it's no longer welcome?
About what?
Will you visit London during the state visit?
I will. I'm not a fan of your mayor.
Why not?
I think he's done a terrible job, the mayor of London. But a nasty person. I think he's done. I think he's
a friend of mine, right?
No, I think he's done a terrible job. But I would certainly visit London. Yeah.
And the president doubled down on that criticism of Khan while flying back from Scotland on Air Force One last night. Watch.
But Europe has a big immigration problem. They also liked when I said that they have one of the worst mayors anywhere in the world in London. He's a horrible mayor, nasty guy, stupid guy in my opinion, but he's a nasty man, and I want nothing to do with him. But I didn't think it was a big statement, and so many people said thank you for saying that. He's a bad guy. Khan is his name, I guess. He's done a lousy job, I can tell you that. A terrible mayor. No, but people liked it so much when I said that.
And Ezra Levant says Tommy Robinson was simply a victim of a London hoodlum in Sadiq Khan's London.
I've spoken with Tommy and with Tommy's criminal lawyers, and I've offered to crowdfund this latest legal battle, which is nothing more and nothing less than self-defense against a London hoodlum. I don't have an estimate of how much these lawyers are going to cost. I guess it depends on how badly the government wants to go after Tommy. He was the victim of the crime here in Sadiq Khan's dangerous city. Unlike 940,000 other Londoners, he managed to save himself. If he's prosecuted for defending himself against threatened violence, it'll be just another case of two-tier justice in the UK.
And regardless of what Starmer says, regardless of what Khan says, there is absolutely no doubt that crime in London, specifically the London Underground, on the rise. Look at this. Antisocial behaviour on the tube, offensive weapon crimes up by 158%, robbery up by 107%, and violence up by 31%. So as Ezra has written in this campaign to save Tommy, Saint Pancras station is completely covered with surveillance cameras, and unless police delete that footage, it will clearly show the man besetting and threatening Tommy. It was 100% self-defense. There were 940,000 crimes reported in London last year alone, and of course many people don't even bother calling the police anymore. Tommy is more alert than most people because he regularly gets threatened by people who disagree with him. He adds, I've travelled with Tommy around the UK before. 90% of people he meets want a selfie, but once in a while some thug thinks he can take a crack at Tommy. That's what happened here, and luckily Tommy was able to defend himself. When police review the surveillance video, they'll see that it was self-defense, but I fear that they'll prosecute Tommy no matter what, just to keep him on the back foot, keep him in jeopardy, and keep burning up his time and money. But it depends if we can see all the footage, doesn't it? Because Don Keith of Tommy's organisation Open Scoop revealed on Outspoken here yesterday that footage does exist to corroborate Tommy's story.
So there is footage out there to show exactly what happened. So if you're planning on going out there and lying about Robinson, just be aware there's footage out there to be seen that shows his side of the story.
And I absolutely look forward to that. But of course, there is a wider point here. As Tommy ally Gurmeet Singh argued, if you approach someone with hostility, a man that receives death threats daily, expect to get a clip around the air hole. Danny Roscoe, another supporter, added, whatever's going on, remember this. I don't stand behind anyone, I fight beside them. Your fight is my fight because I believe in the mission. And this mission, it doesn't pause, it doesn't flinch. It ends only when we take our country back. We're the first on the field and the last to leave. Tommy's not just a friend, he's a brother in arms. And I'm standing with him. No retreat, no excuse. The psyops are real. Many of us will be taken out. But if the cost wasn't so high, I wouldn't be risking everything. 2 years ago, none of this madness was happening. So ask yourself, is this chaos by accident or by design? Then let the record show I'm keeping the promise I made years back to Tommy Robinson. I don't fold. I don't run. I don't quit. I got your back, brother. Now, Brian Rose, who Tommy had been travelling to London to be interviewed by, also defended his honour.
Everybody trying to vilify Tommy. Do not trust or believe your media channels. Do not trust or believe your institutions, governments, or even the police force, because they have a vested interest in making Tommy look bad and trying to silence this man. And I would just like for the truth to come out. That's it. I met Tommy the first time yesterday. And, you know, I think I got to know the kind of person he is. He's not a perfect guy, but he also walks around alone. He doesn't have security with him. He said he gets a lot of love in this city. He said a lot of moms like to take pictures with him and they really appreciate him. And that's why he walks around like that. I don't see him starting these incidents, but I do see Tommy finishing something if someone were to attack him. And so I look forward to seeing the footage. I believe we're going to see some truth come out to that. And that's it.
Now, obviously, what's so tragic about this event is that Tommy Robinson was on top of the world and feeling more powerful than ever in the hours before the attack. But first, in today's digital world, your online freedom and safety have never been more under threat, whether it's state overreach, tracking by big tech, or cyber criminals lurking on public Wi-Fi. Indeed, in the UK, just this week, we've now seen many popular sites and important content, even my news reporting here on Outspoken, even important speeches in the House of Commons censored entirely because of the government's so-called new Online Safety Act. You will have heard, I'm sure, in this discussion, lots of people saying you need to get a VPN to protect yourself and still access all your favorite content. Well, guess what? I have the perfect solution. It's Surfshark, by far the world's best VPN that protects your identity and secures your data. But the great thing is Surfshark is actually so much more than a VPN, and you can go to surfshark.com/outspoken for an extra 4 months of Surfshark to secure your data, protect your freedom, and support Outspoken at the same time. Now look at this. Surfshark's Clean Web feature blocks ads, trackers, malware, and phishing links so you can browse safely without being spied on. And it makes the experience so much easier and more pleasant too. Need to access certain apps or websites without VPN interference, like your banking app, for example? Well, Surfshark's bypasser feature handles that with ease. And if your VPN connection ever drops, Surfshark's kill switch immediately disconnects your device from the internet, keeping your data safe at all times. Plus, with dynamic multi-hop, you can route your connection through 2 different countries at once, doubling your encryption and making tracking nearly impossible. This also means you can freely switch beyond your favorite country lock shows with the click of a button. So you can be watching effectively your favorite TV shows or sport from anywhere in the world, wherever you are. There are other benefits of Surfshark too. You can use it on unlimited devices, meaning your entire household can stay safe with just 1 subscription. And with over 3,200 servers in over 100 countries, there is a world of choice at your fingertips. And I know for lots of you, this will be your first time using a VPN, but the great news is that Surfshark offers you 24/7 customer service. So go to surfshark.com/outspoken for an extra 4 months of Surfshark. And what's more, this is really important. Surfshark is so confident it's the best VPN in the world. Trust me, it is. I use it every single day, that you can give it a try for a full 30 days. And if you're not entirely satisfied, you will get your money back. So go to surfshark.com/outspoken or use the code OUTSPOKEN at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. But now, back to the show.
I'm in central London, back in the UK, and we are meeting the stage guys, the PA guys, to discuss our demonstration, to make plans for the biggest demonstration this country has ever seen. I've been back in the country for the last 4 days, and I've been non-stop every minute.
And he did speak of exciting times ahead too.
Exciting times in the fact that the reception I'm receiving in the streets, the public are well and truly awake. Everything they tried to do to slander, attack, demonise, to break this movement, when they tried to put me in prison, Lucy Connolly in prison, Peter Lynch, all of this was to break you. It was to put fear into the public. It hasn't worked. It's actually galvanised the public. It's actually brought love to all those people. Lucy Connolly walked out of jail, one of the most loved people in the UK, yeah, because they know that she took the brunt for the people. She was punished for you. She was punished to send a message to you, as was I, as were many other people. So it hasn't worked. I see that by the reception I'm getting on the streets everywhere I'm going, which is wonderful, it's beautiful, I get shown so much love, and I also get to know that September 13th is going to be the biggest thing we've ever done.
Unless they can shut it down. Now, I think this post on X summed it up best. It was from the Right Honourable James, who wrote, "I'm definitely not a fan of Tommy Robinson, but this feels like a complete stitch-up. A random faceless guy provokes him into a fight so he can be recalled to prison. Right when all the street riots around hotels are starting up again. Feels very convenient for the government. And why are the authorities so desperate to silence Tommy again? Well, the great General Mike Flynn argues that it's because he predicted the turmoil in the United Kingdom before anyone else. Writing investigative journalist Tommy Robinson has been right from the very beginning in all of his reporting. This is what you get when you elect socialists to your parliament and into the highest office of the land. Margaret Thatcher is rolling over in her grave, and Churchill has already turned over. The Brits are in big trouble, and Donald Trump needs to put the farce of a special relationship to bed. It is no longer special when our British friends allow such utter nonsense to prevail. No, Keir Starmer, you do not know what you are doing." Now, Ezra Levant here, alongside the Superstar panel. Okay, Ezra Levant, what do you know? What do you know that makes you so confident that Tommy Robinson has effectively been really provoked here or set up and was simply defending himself?
I don't think he was set up, Dan. I think that this was a random encounter. I think Tommy is so well known that if you're going to do something like go to Saint Pancras station, which has thousands of people in it, you're probably going to be recognized by hundreds of them. A portion will be too shy to do anything. Some will take selfies, but I've been with Tommy on the street when someone recognizes him and has an impulsive decision to take him on. And that's what happened here. I disagree with that one Twitter person who said this was someone setting him up. I don't think so. I think this was a random encounter. Someone who recognized Tommy had, being taught by the regime media that Tommy was evil and moved on Tommy. I've seen it before. I've traveled with Tommy. Lots of love. Some people argue with him, but every now and then someone thinks they're going to tune up Tommy, especially that he's not a very large and menacing person. Tommy is, he makes fun of, he calls himself short, and he sort of is. So if you're 6 foot something, you think you might take a punch at Tommy and be a hero amongst your friends. And Tommy, repeatedly told this guy, back off, don't. And the guy advanced. And in that last moment, and listen, the facts will show what they show. The video footage will show what it shows. And I don't want to state what that is because I wasn't there and I haven't seen the CCTV. But from what I have heard from Tommy himself and talking to the lawyers, and I don't want to say everything here because there are strategic reasons to hold back some of it. This was a classic case of self-defense by Tommy, who works out all the time and actually knows how to use his hands. And he was reluctant to do so until that absolute last moment when it was one of those men was going down. Was Tommy going to let him punch him in the face first, or at the last moment when he could no longer wait, defend himself? And I think, frankly, that this was one of those 940,000 cases of crimes every year in London, half of which do not get resolved, except for in this case, instead of a little old lady being robbed or a tourist having a cell phone stolen out of their hand, a fit, savvy Tommy who knows how to defend himself was what was waiting the hoodlum. So I think it was a random encounter. It's 100% self-defense. I think that if there's a jury trial, Londoners will say, yeah, I wish I could defend myself against the crime wave in this city. The question is, as you so wisely put, Dan, will the authorities try and take advantage of this and really turn it into an enormous thing? Will they try and get him in custody and hold him till a hearing? I doubt it, but with Tommy Robinson, he's an enemy of the state. They will literally do anything. I no longer believe that the police, the prosecutors, or the judges give Tommy a fair shot. And I love the British judicial system. I love so much about the UK, but I no longer believe that Tommy can get a fair shot in that country it's just he's being marked as public enemy number one. The amount of resources dedicated to shutting him up. And by the way, his message has gone viral. In the last year, I think I've observed, even from this side of the Atlantic, that the things that Tommy Robinson was talking about when very, very few others were, have now entered the mainstream. The Daily Telegraph, even Keir Starmer briefly said, "We become a nation of strangers." And he said he's going to, he said he would stop the votes. Obviously, he didn't mean it. So Tommy's ideas have broken out of the margins and they're in the mainstream. And whatever criticisms you have of Nigel Farage, and I'm sure many of them are justified, he is now where Nigel Farage today is where Tommy Robinson was 5, 10 years ago. So Tommy has moved the needle on the public conversation, and the deep state wants to silence him. I'm afraid they're going to use the legal system here. I promised Tommy, and I talked to his lawyers, that I would do my best to pay those legal bills. As you know, I do it through crowdfunding. We've set up a website called SaveTommy.com. We've done this multiple times before. We've also set up, as you know, a fund for his children, because, and I don't want to be macabre here, but I am worried that one day, God forbid, may it never happen, I am worried that one day Tommy, and I even hate to say the words, that one day he will lose his life, whether it's in prison, whether it's a hoodlum on the street, whether it's a terrorist attack. Let me give you one last fact, Dan.
Please.
In the UK, there's something called an Osman warning. It's when police have actionable information that someone is coming to kill you. And the police have an obligation to visit you in person and hand deliver you a written warning of what they know and what you can do in response. Imagine getting a knock on your door from the police, and it's Tommy. So what does it mean? Am I being arrested? No, it's an Osman warning. Tommy has received not one, not two, not three, not four, but a dozen different Osman warnings hand delivered to him by the police, telling him that someone's coming to kill him. So you can imagine, if someone on the subway is coming to kill him, he takes it seriously and defends himself, but he never starts fights. He tries to avoid them. I think the one lesson he will learn from this whole thing, Dan, I sure hope so, is he shouldn't travel in London by himself anymore. And that's just a price he has to pay for being so well known.
Totally. I mean, Ezra, I said this last night when I was speaking to Don Keith. I mean, I understand that this is a guy who wants freedom. I get that. But I'm sorry, Tommy, you can't be out in London without security going forward. And there'll have to be a way where that can be funded for you. Look, stay with us, Ezra, but we've got the perfect superstar panelist here alongside our father, Calvin Robinson, today. Joining us for the first time is Dave Marshall. Now, let me tell you about Dave. He is the author of The Fall of Policing, which was a bestseller on Amazon when it was released, and his experience is unrivaled. He was, until last January, a serving senior police officer. His last post at the College of Policing, where he was the chief superintendent responsible for national performance improvement. He's done 31 years in the police with experience in areas from crime investigation, terrorism, and public order, but is now an outspoken critic, I guess you would say, on the police involvement in social justice movements, including Pride and police impartiality. So, Dave, I'm absolutely fascinated to get your reaction to what Ezra Levant has just said, which is that it's impossible for Tommy Robinson to be treated fairly in this country. I mean, the police in this case, they ignore crimes all the time, don't they? Very violent crimes in London, but they seem to be all over this. They've posted describing him on X as a suspect. They've posted suggesting that he had in some way fled the country, which isn't true. He was on a pre-planned holiday. I was told yesterday that he had called the police. He actually wanted the police to investigate. So what's your view, Dave Marshall, on whether the police, especially under Sadiq Khan, can treat Tommy Robinson fairly?
Well, firstly, thanks for having me on, Dan. It's a genuine pleasure to be here. I think it should be a surprise to no one that Tommy Robinson has found himself to be the victim of a violent attack in London, and particularly in the London Underground. You quite rightly displayed the crime statistics there, where violence, antisocial behaviour, theft, robbery have all risen to unprecedented levels, with withering detection rates in the process. So the fact that Tommy Robinson and I tend to agree with Ezra on this point. I don't think it was a setup or a sting. I think he's just been the subject of a random violent attack. As for how the police will proceed with this, well, you're quite right to point out that so far there have been quite a lot being churned out on police social media, on mainstream media. British Transport Police, of course, will be going hell for leather on this, I suspect. Another one of our many police forces who have been captured by the progressive DEI obsessed ideology. And given the fact that they are experiencing such increases in crime and in violent crime, I suspect that that will propel them on to act in this case with particular gusto. In terms of what will happen next, well, you got to look at the way Tommy Robinson has responded. I always think about the conduct of someone after one of those incidents has taken place, and the conduct of an innocent man is not to hang about at the scene, knowing full well he's being filmed, call up the police to report the matter. And let's not forget that in this country, we still have a rule of innocent until proven guilty.
Well, we're meant to, aren't we? We're meant to, aren't we? Ezra, look, final word to you before I bring in Father Calvin Robinson. What is the plan now? Is Tommy still full steam ahead for the 13th of September? Is he able to return to the United Kingdom? Is he worried about arrest? I mean, I know you say he doesn't run away from anything, but what is the plan?
His lawyers are seized with this matter. The police say they're investigating. As far as I know, there is not yet an arrest warrant for him. Tommy never evades arrest. He would work with his lawyers, I would imagine. I don't want to prejudge it, but he would come to meet them if it were necessary. I think part of the investigation would obviously be looking at those surveillance tapes. Tommy is not a flight risk. He leaves the country regularly, but he has never evaded justice, despite what the regime media was implying. I think, if I can defer to Dave Marshall, he's correct. Police have discretion and prosecutors have discretion on how hardcore they want to go, even what charges they might try and graft onto this. But I think 940,000 Londoners would say, oh yeah, something almost that bad happened to me. I just didn't have the agility and strength to defend myself. If this were in another jurisdiction, or if Tommy were an unknown person, the police would look at this and say, a hoodlum got what he deserved because a man defended himself. But because of the political nature of the victim here, Tommy, I'm worried the police will go further. We don't know their approach yet. They have not communicated it. But I did promise Tommy and the lawyers that I would do my best to cover their legal bills. We can't let them grind Tommy down. That's what this is. It's a war of attrition. The process is the punishment, and they're doing it to distract him from his valuable political work. That's why I think, well, what's the least I can do? If I can help lift the burden of the stress of the legal bills off of him, and if I can help rebut some of the lies about him, that's my contribution.
No, and it's very important. Father Calvin Robinson, you've witnessed all of this. You're obviously someone who has been close with Tommy Robinson. What's your view on what's gone down here?
Tommy Robinson has become the unwitting leader of the patriotic movement in Britain. He is the figurehead of what is a shifting Overton window of people who are sick and tired of our government, our police, our judiciary, our king, all being against us, all being so disconnected from the British people. Tommy is at the forefront of the fight back. This event on the 13th of September is going to be the biggest event he's done so far, and it will signify a change in the culture of this country and people starting to stand up for themselves again. And so I think the establishment is going to throw the book at him. They're going to throw everything they can at him to prevent that. When he got out last time around, I sent him a message saying, you know, This is not the end. They're going to keep coming for you until they can get you. And they don't just want to arrest him, they want him dead. And that is by design. They want to end his life. We've talked about this before, the fact that they put him in prison with so many Mohammedans, the fact that they mentally torture him by putting him in isolation for so long. They do not care for his life or his well-being because he is fighting the good fight for many of us. And I think now is the time for people to realize that he can't do it on his own. People need to start standing up. If they care about Britain at all, it's time to stand up. Civil disobedience at this point is the answer. And even posting memes at this point is pretty much civil disobedience. After the online safety bill, we could all go to jail for tweeting the wrong thing. So just start speaking up, please.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.